But do you think there is a difference between harassment and assault?
Yes, harassment is.
What's the difference?
The clear difference comes in the form that you can harass somebody, like verbally, and still do not touch the person. But assault, he has to have contact with the person's body, especially intimate areas, to touching the breast, the buttocks, or even having penetration. A forced way, you force yourself on the person, like rape, like attempting to rape, is violation, and this is assault. And this assault is more than harassment. This is not the assault. Harassment is a kind of inappropriate remarks on somebody, trying to do inappropriate things, but verbally, personally, but not actually touching the person's physical body. That's what I believe.
And you can also harass someone through like you said, talking to the person in a wrong way, in a wrong manner. You can harass someone emotionally. You can harass someone, but for you not to go into the act proper, it is not yet assault. But assault is when you now exceeded the harassment. You've done the harassment and you made a threat through the harassment, and now you are executing it. That's where the assault comes in. And that is the one that will end up leaving the person with a great impact that will damage the person for life. So that's where the assault comes in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there is, most people don't know, but there is a thin line between acceptable behavior and harassment. And sometimes people don't know where to draw the line. People actually make these comments and things that can be called jokes.
Of course.
But they might sound like jokes. People might laugh about it, but it is actually not a joke. So how can one differentiate between acceptable behavior and harassment?
It's a thin line.
Okay, let me. Acceptable behavior. One, as I said, if you joke with me and it's accepted by myself, it is not a kind of harassment. But if you play sexually and I reject it and you continue, it's harassment. You understand? A repeated act on me that I reject is harassment. Even stalking, insisting on that is watching me, following me, monitoring me, and you know that I said no. The no differentiates it. When you play with somebody's breast and the guy does not talk, accepts it, joke with you, it's accepted. It's not under harassment. Even Lauren looking at somebody sexually, remove the person's clothes, and the person still enjoys it. It is accepted by you.
It's accepted.
So it's no crime. But it becomes a crime when I group you, touch your buttocks, or touch your breast, or touch your private parts, and you say no. What type of joke is this? That is not accepted.
And I insist. They just like some guys that want to, they are trying to get a girlfriend. Say, yes, they'll be following you. They'll be telling you, I love you. You're this, that. I said, please, I'm not interested. Tomorrow they will still block you, and they'll tell you, just let's start from platonic friend and all that. The next thing, they see you in a place or in a location. They try to go as far as try to hug you without your consent. That one is one that is not accepted.
It's not accepted. The whole thing boils down like you don't accept it.
Yeah.
As far as you reject it, it's not accepted.
It's not accepted behavior. But if the person that is dealing with the other person likes what the other person is doing, in our eyes, it might look at, I don't like what this person is doing, but the person receiving it likes it. So it's appropriate for the person.
It all borders on concept.
Of course.
Exactly.
Of course.
I'm not exceeding your boundary. Do not cross your boundary.
Of course.
And bringing it down to our society.
Okay.
How do you think our society and culture, do you think this contributes to the high rates of harassment and assault that we see and hear and experience these days?
Somehow, our culture entertains some harassment. Because using their, I would say, some of the culture practice timidity. There's no awareness. Some don't even know what they are doing is wrong. They don't even know somebody's crossing the boundaries. They think it's normal. Like in some places where I've lived in Warri, they don't check a woman soft like in ENUGU. They command you, and it's their way of life. So in some areas, it's the culture that caused it. The environment make people to behave in such ways, and they don't even know it's wrong. That's what I say. So somewhere the culture need to be changed. You have to sensitize the culture, enlighten them, and bring them to what is right and what is wrong. Then sometimes you meet experts like psychologists to put people through, and sometimes you pass through pastors. They pray you through because sometimes they don't have to be biblical. Bible must be involved.
You know, the culture. There is this place in Nigeria today where it's their culture that once you visit me, if you're my good friend, I give you my wife to sleep with.
So there is
it's normal. They're not saying there's anything. If you don't release your wife, it's a very big deal.
Yeah.
So you see, around that areas like that, you find out that it is their way of life. The culture of that area, that location, have made it that women will constantly be submitted to assaults on a daily basis. And they see that's the way of it. Nothing is wrong with that.
And equally in some cultures too, in Africa. Before a man gets married to their sister, their daughter, the whole aunts test the man. You go inside the room with the man and test the man. If the man performs well, you now accept.
Wow.
So that one comes in that culture.
That's culture, yeah.
Somewhere in Africa, it does happen. This one she said is somewhere in Nigeria, where you produce your wife for testing. And if the man does not test the wife, it's not a good friend.
Of course.
So that's the culture.
It's a big
Some cultures for us, we believe need to be changed. For them, I don't know whether they accept it. Maybe if they like it, then you cannot disturb them. But we know culture affects harassment.
Harassment.
Some encourage
harassment and assaults.
Yes, I'm talking about encouraging harassment. You know, in our society, most people tend to be judgmental of victims of assault and harassment. And so like it makes them be more quiet about it, not like making them not to be able to speak out and talk about it. Now, don't you think this also promotes perpetrators of the act to keep doing it because the victims can't speak because they will be blamed or things like that?
But that one man comes back in the culture whereby they believe you are the one that accepted it. You expose yourself. You are the one that caused it. That we need to touch the culture, the society at large, even the community. We need a change. So first of all, people should be taught what is harassment. Bring it down, even to Nigeria. There's a woman, Natasha, in the Senate. She did something, she said something, but the government is playing with it because of the way we see. We have weak laws. We don't have complete understanding of such things. She might be right. Let me explain. Let's say in UK, luring, looking at somebody sexually, can be attributed as harassment. There's a way we now compare with another thing, it becomes an assault. Even in Nigerian law, somewhere they have some provisions for that. But somehow because we have weak judicial and weak laws, let me just say judicial system, weak laws made it somehow they pedal it down as if it's normal, but it's not normal.
And another thing is that those perpetrators, most of them have connections. So that's why those people that are victims, they are not given the opportunity to say. Even if they say it out, it is buried under the carpet. Because the person, it's just like, for instance, when you come and accuse maybe the governor of the state and say that he raped me, you're talking to yourself, it can't be true. Nothing can be done. So you see, instead of coming to expose yourself, rather they will twist it Maybe it's because you're the one.
You're the cause.
You're the cause. Come on. How can this honorable man do this to you? They will now say that you are, especially the female genders, they suffer mostly in the hands of male on this area, on this angle right now, because they don't believe. They'll say, because maybe you're wearing something that exposes your body. That's why you're something. So you find out that those people that are victims, they cocoon themselves in. They don't like talking about it. Two, once a brother, even the church, they're not helping. Someone will come and tell you, a brother, I was raped, I was assaulted. The next thing they'll say, all these unbelievers trying to destroy the house of God. All these unbelievers, may the Lord judge you. You find out that I have had, as a counselor, I hear a lot of things. I have had an issue of a sister that the one that they said are going on night vigil. They went on the night vigil. He said, please help me pick up something from the car. Innocently, you're going with a choir master. All of a sudden, inside the car, started assaulting the girl. So they say, I'm so disappointed. And now, out of ignorance or whatever, went and told the pastor without telling the wife, So, I said, how can this brother, the person that will sing and anointing will come down?
Cannot do such an act.
Now, the next day, it becomes a topic. Now, do you know that this girl took it on Facebook? I am telling you, it was a serious thing. Say, okay, I'm lying. Let's take it. So now when the thing went to Facebook, it now got us to, that was when we knew it was not only that day, it started. It has started happening. Now they are now begging the girl to bring down the video. And I know, I even have to tell her the video must go down. Because now, it's not only the person involved. Now the church that condemned her is now involved.
Yes.
So, will you tell me that people that witness such event, they will be free to talk about it? Because a lot of people are going through this thing on a daily basis. Another thing is that the perpetrators are allowed to go scot-free. Nothing are done to them. And that's why they do it. What the hell?
That's what I talk about. We have a weak system.
I'm telling you.
The system does not handle it well. So because it doesn't handle it well, people repeat such crimes. So the crime is being repeated because of the system.
And she just told a story about someone in church who got assaulted or harassed.
And that was a power imbalance.
Now I'm coming to that, but I just want to get your opinion on that because you're a pastor as well, and you're an educator. So I'm sure in both as a pastor, you must have probably encountered people who come to you with such issues. Out from her own angle of how the church handles this matter, what do you have to say about that?
What she said is not about the church. She was just talking about a particular church. Not all churches.
Not all churches.
Some people handle their own very well. When such cases are brought, it's for the pastors, it's like it's a spiritual issue. So we pass through prayers first. In prayers, some people have the power to see vision. From the vision, they're able to handle the issue. So, under the pastoral part of it, when you use prayers and use the word of God, you settle their mind. And some of the victims have been delivered because these things were saying under the normal society discussion is normal. But in the spiritual aspect, all these things have forces involved, attached to such things. When the victim passes through rape, there's a spirit transferred to the person. The spirit disturbs the person, hurt the person gets traumatized, depressed, and doesn't feel okay. That's a spirit. But normally, if you don't understand it.
So you're linking the effects of sexual assault to spirituality.
It comes to spirituality. Yes, it's spirituality now. No, they don't believe it. When you are emotionally down, something is wrong.
I think
on my own side, what you're saying, a particular church might not handle it well. That doesn't mean that the church is right.
Okay.
That particular church may be offline, or even the church need deliverance. But when the church is okay and sound, deliverance is forever. Deliverance is a constant something. Don't misunderstand me. Every church passes through deliverance. Constant something. It's not once you are delivered, delivered for life. No. You pass through a process. So under that one, the girl or the woman comes in, pass through a process, pray, handle the issue. Some will talk through, the person get through. But some people go and expose, so some come to television and some to say, this.
The thing there is that, you see, assuming someone told you, this is what I encountered, out of trust. I think the first thing that man would have done is to first of all believe. They want to be believed. One, yes. Oh, this thing happened. Oh, I believe. I know you're not lying. Just because it's out of trying to prove that she's not lying that made her to go as far as going on social media.
Yeah, okay, let's not.
That's the difference. The person did not handle it well. That particular person did not handle it well. That's not in the church.
But in your experience as an educator and a pastor as well, can you just share maybe an incident or something you've encountered? Maybe someone, a case you handled.
There's a case that came up, but this one is rape. She studied in the university, came out and had done her master's, looking for a job. As one says, power imbalance. The friend, a married man that's supposed to help her out, took her out. They went up after drinking, having a good time. He said, okay, come on and see my wife and greet my wife. She now came to greet the wife. Coming to greet the wife was not home. She didn't know. She entered the house to greet the man and locked the door and used belts. I said to Frog, she was wondering what is that. Before you know, the man tore the girl's clothes and raped her.
Wow.
So when she brought the case and told me, I said, first of all, you have to go and do check-up. Then after check-up, you go back to the man. You go back to the man, tell the man, do not accept to have sex again with the man. Because if you have sex with the man the second time, you are finished. It's called confirmation. That confirmed it. Tell the man, you need money for drugs to go and treat yourself. She went back to the man. The man gave her money for drugs to treat herself. She came back then, we have to send her for prayers to clean her heart. But later on, she stopped. She didn't go to meet the man again. She didn't return to the man. On the process, she now left. Because first of all, what I noticed is that when she came to me, she was panicking. She was afraid. She was behaving somehow. Her behavior was not okay. She was sitting like this before. She was sitting like this. Later I sent her to a psychologist that helped her out. So the psychologist was a prayer. She was able to get through. But on the long run, we later lost her.
Wow. But do you think asking her to go back to the person who put her in that situation was the best?
No.
Because anything would have gone wrong.
No, that one was.
You
cannot reply again. But that one was a planned rape at night. They went outside, go and meet your wife. This time around, they have to collect drugs. The man have already slept with her. She don't hide anything. She doesn't have any money to treat herself. Because sleeping with her, she had to take herself now. But she was asking me, am I pregnant? I said, what? She said, am I pregnant? I said, like how? But she had not tested it before. She was confused. A big girl.
Wow.
A big girl had done her masters. Is that being like somehow? So I sent her back. He collected money from the man, came back, and I sent her to a psychologist. When she passed through it, through prayers, she got herself well. But later on the life, she died. And through another process, she had lost her.
So what about you?
That's a lasting. Maybe trauma can be part of it.
Honestly,
trauma. The trauma of all this things.
No, it's not trauma that did that. She exposed herself because she has body. She only lied on the tires and cooled the entire body. That's why she died, not through the trauma. Because through prayers and through the experts that handled her, she got herself well.
At least that's great to hear.
And she didn't return to the man, and the man didn't have his way again, the second tenor. Because when you have a second tenor, you are finished. Second tenor is confirmation.
Yeah, but the man is still out there though.
No, the man is still out there, and nothing happened to him, except God.
These are the issues. So what about you? Do you have any,
Yes. That's this woman that came for one of the counseling session. So already she's going through depression. So when I was trying to find out the root, how it started and everything, she now opened up and told me that she has the husband's brother that helps them. But initially she wasn't seeing it as anything. But when the thing persisted, she started seeing, it started becoming a problem that the man, before the man will give her any money, the man will ask her to remove her dress, expose her breast. So
That's her husband's brother.
Yes, the husband's brother will ask her, expose your dress and let's be talking. Call her night calls, and at a point he said that the thing, but if she refused to do that, the money will not be released, and she needs the money to take care of herself and her children, because it's very unfortunate the man is not that. The husband is going through a lot. Now this thing continued to the extent that the man got to a point to now tell her, I want to have you. That's oral sex. She was like, she said I should be binding and casting. And if she refused to do that, for 2 weeks, the man will not pick her call. The man will not.
So it's just like this power imbalance and power dynamic. Because now
I'm
he has something to hold over her head. She just has to do what he wants. But
at the end of the day, the whole thing, I had to tell her, the best bet is, can you decide to suffer to be free from this? Because the thing so much affected her, it traumatized her so much. And when they went for a particular burial at the village, the woman went as far as trying to be physical with her. And now, she now refused, but now said, okay, I'm going to tell your husband that you are flirting outside. Blackmail. Started blackmailing her. Now, without knowing that when she was doing that, the man will put this phone screen on record, recording her. So, if you don't do this, I'm going to expose this. If you don't do that, I told her the best bet is, it's better you use your hand to confess than waiting for him. Because it came to a point that the woman was so traumatized. As I'm talking, we are dealing on the issue presently. Okay. We are currently on it. So you find out that a lot of women, it's not that they decided to go through that pass through it. But one, the economy made them, because they are trying to survive, made them to endure to some certain level, because it will get to a point the person will break. The person will break. And the blackmailing is also helping them to fall to the absorbed victim of such assaults.
Okay. Anyway, we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, this conversation continues. Just stay with us.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Welcome back. Before going on the short break, we were having a conversation on sexual harassment and assault. So let's continue our conversation. So there is this thing about men experiencing sexual assault. You know, when we talk about harassment and assault, most of the stories usually borders around the women and the girls, and it's as if the men and the boys, their stories are not really up that head, and it's as if people don't really believe that men can actually experience harassment and assault. So what are your 2 cents on that?
No, men or male child, they equally experience assault. They experience harassment. Like children or a young male can be abused by a grown-up. It's an assault. It's a harassment. It's not a male child. It's a male child being harassed by a woman. It's even in record why teachers sleep with their students.
Of course.
It's harassment. It's a record, even in Nigeria and outside the country. So men are harassed. In other forms, we have different type of harassment. Some male harass male. Some female harass female. So the other way around, I had an accountant where a man will take a job in a big company or a company. And the woman that is a cosmate is supposed to help him out. The woman invited him for interview. He came, the woman lodged in the hotel and invited him to come. The man came there. The woman told the man, if you want to get this job, you have to sleep with me. It's an, don't you call it harassment? It's harassment. But it sounded funny. I thought, no, it's only I'm the boss. But now the woman is demanding for sex for the young man to help the young man. And he did not help the young man. Because the young man looked at her and told her, what will I tell my God? When I go for Thanksgiving, what will I say? When I will cancel the order, I got a job with the oil company. I will not remember in my heart that I slept with a woman for the job. It's not worth it. Instead of that, the man preferred to stay. Keep on praying. One day, door will open. But we don't have most men that pray. As I have now. We notice now that most of the males are passing through homosexual behavior. So homosexual attacks. Some of them are homosexuals. It's not, I don't say only big men though. It happens to students in schools. That's why some people don't like boarding school. Boarding school is good. But if it's not well coordinated, well handled, you end up having lesbians. Producing homosexuals.
Honestly, I have this a friend of mine. So when we were discussing, I said, let me tell you something. I've been keeping listening, man. I said, what is it? He said, do you know that the person that disvirgined me is a male now? That you know the person that disvirgined me is my school teacher. I said, what? He said that she's the one that even gave him the first infection he had in life. I was like, how did it happen? And I said that that day they finished. So the teacher now said, because he's so bright, he's so bright, and he's just like a class prefect. I said, okay, that we are going to bring those books to her house so that she will look into it properly, without knowing that the teacher already is having a crush on him. It's not that he really knows what his crush is all about. So he's just an innocent boy in primary school. Not in secondary now.
Wow.
In primary school.
Wow.
They say at that time he was, is he 10 years? Where he was abused. Now, when he now came, the staff said, no, drop the book here. He did. I said, okay. Normally, when they come with other students, they give them biscuits. Hey, good boy, you're trying, continue. But this time around, he was requested to come alone. And he did. He said, what is that? He now dropped the book. He said, no. The teacher now said, please come, help me. Remove my zip. Help me. That is hard for me. He said, no problem. I'll remove. He now said, scratch the back. So, but then the next thing, he said that, he now said, there is something I want to teach you. I want to teach you biology. He said, okay, biology. Okay, no problem. And I said, that was when he saw that the teacher sucked him. He was feeling something on his head. He said, something is doing me. He said, don't worry, relax, very soon you get used to it.
Okay, so that's how
that was how we got. So you now find out it's now the teacher, the female teacher now, assaulting the male. And we have a occasion where one of the lecturers in the school, they see the campus girls trying to get a pass mark.
Yeah, that I think
That's
No, it's not the male going after them. It's not the male going after them.
okay, it's the female student.
The female student
after
after the male,
Yeah.
trying to make the male lecturer to subpedal for them
And give the marks.
and give them
For
marks.
benefits.
So it's harassment.
Yes.
When
Yeah.
you become, the man doesn't want you, you're
Yes.
touching him, it's harassment.
Harassment.
The assault is that
So,
you will even go as far as nakeding yourself and threaten him. If you don't do this thing, I will accuse you of rape, and everybody will believe me.
yeah, everybody.
Honestly.
Okay.
So male also.
But there is something that has been some sort of an argument these days. People say that the dynamics between male assault and female assault is not the same. Because they say, oh, as a man, you're not scared when you see a group of women, or you don't think, like, you know that fear of, as a lady or as a woman, if you're working at night or if you see a group of boys, there is this anxiety. You start walking fast, or you know that thing, or if you're the only lady inside in a bus, you're already being so, you're already looking at
It's not the same dynamic.
It's not the same.
But some people argue that it's the same either way.
No, I think that we have more of women harassment, female harassment and assault than that of the male.
Yeah, well, there's more.
I think there's
More
more
females
females
are being harassed than male.
than men.
So how do we better educate people about consent and respectful behavior? Because I think that is what is the thing lacking when it comes to.
We use media, educationists and specialists on that to treat it. Psychologists, pastors, we deal on these issues through online, creating awareness to the society. And government is equally involved. The government should be involved in it because government will help out to spread it out. This thing I said are some of the major ways whereby there will be enlightenment. And even in the culture, there should be culture change. And all this culture change, all these things change to the better needs experts to talk on this matter, expose the negative part of it, and teach the concept. A person must accept you. If somebody rejects you, do not continue to disturb the person. No matter sometimes there's a kind of myth that say, when you tell a woman, and a woman say no, the no is yes. It doesn't occur in the law. It's not accepted. If a woman says no, let the no be no. Leave her alone.
And I want to come from this angle that if we can work on the causes of this harassment and assault, and one of the causes are indecent dressing. Indecent dressing can lead someone to want to have you.
That one is harassment. This is harassment. No, that one. If you are naked, that is why no person is allowed to walk naked on the road. It's not allowed. The government doesn't allow it.
They allow it. I'm telling you, some bets. There is something one of the state government is doing. If they see you expose your body, they will arrest you. They are going to stone you. It is currently happening in one of the states in Nigeria. So by so doing, the government is helping to save the state and reduce the rate of rape in that state. Now, but when women, I think the women should be talked to. Before you accuse someone of trying to take advantage of you, how are you dressed? Work on yourself. Of course. Because if you don't do, you are even harassing the men. Because you're putting them in emotional trauma.
I want to say something. As I said this, and I remember though, I wasn't talking about society, talking about the government, talking about awareness.
Of course.
It boils down first of all, family. From the home.
Mm-hmm.
From the home. When you watch your daughter get naked and go outside, it's accepted. So you train the child.
What about the boys too?
You train both. No. What I'm talking about training, there's no exemption.
There's no exemption.
You train the boy how to cook. You train the neatness. You train the boy how to handle a female from the home. Our major problem is from the home. From the home, when the male is not taught to do this, that feel it's not my job. No, not that. Or you beat a woman, you beat a lady.
Of course.
The parents don't talk. They leave that normal. It is not normal. It's an abuse.
I'm telling you.
It's not accepted. So the whole thing starts from the home. From the home, now you transfer to the school.
And then
From the school, that's what it is. From the school, the church is involved.
Okay, so because we're actually running out of time, this conversation is so interesting. I actually don't want it to end. But just your last words, how do you think people who have gone through different forms of assault and harassment, how do you think the society can help them better to speak up and to also help them come out of, whatever it is that they went through? Just briefly, before we go.
Okay, coming to how the society will help out, please, I want to beg you, if someone complains of any harassment or assault, first of all, don't judge the person. Please, let's not be judgmental. Let's accept them and try to take them either to a counselor or anything that will help them to come out of it. And there are people that when they report a case, the person they are reporting to try to take advantage of them. By so doing, you're not helping it. Please, let's stop being judgmental and let's try to accommodate them that really it is not their fault. It will help them a lot.
So the victims has to be accepted, treated with care,
With care.
love, and work under them so that psychologically they will be okay, emotionally they will be sound. They need helping hand. They should be accepted well, cared for. I believe that even the government should introduce some schemes that would be good for them, so that we don't look at people raped as nonsense, that they're mad people, that they expose themselves. No, most of them don't expose themselves. Some married women are being raped.
Of course.
People know, but we don't say it.
Oh my God, thank you so much, Mrs. Grace Opani and Pastor Chukwuka Emma Soba. Thank you so much for joining us and for having this conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Gender Perspective continues right after this break. Stay with us.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation with our guests. And it is important for us to note that sexual violence, which includes sexual harassment and assault, often results in long-term emotional effects. And these can include, but are not limited to, denial, genophobia, which is also known as the fear of sex, anger, self-blame, anxiety, shame, nightmares, fear, depressions, flashbacks, guilt, mood swings, numbness, loneliness, and a lot of other things. It is mostly strongly related to the development of suicidality and trauma-related disorders, including PTSD, also known as post-traumatic stress disorder, as well as the development of bipolar and obsessive-compulsive disorders. Now, experiencing sexual assault also increases the risk of developing anxiety disorders, major depressive disorder, eating disorders, addictions, and other psychopathologies. Family and friends of individuals who have been sexually assaulted also experience emotional scarring, leading to a strong desire for revenge or a desire to fix the problem or move on, and a rationalization that it wasn't that bad. Well, let's look at some of the myths and facts surrounding sexual harassment and assaults. Well, looking at these myths and facts, it is important to note that sexual harassment and assault is a reality that touches lives across all walks of life, leaving scars both visible and unseen. And today, we are not just acknowledging the problem, we are seeking solutions, exploring the ways our community is and can be actively combating sexual harassment and assault. Now, preventing sexual harassment and assault requires a multifaceted approach, such as raising understanding of consent, healthy relationships, and the impact of sexual violence. Organizations and institutions need clear policies defining prohibited conduct and outlining reporting and response mechanisms, providing training for employees, students, and community members on recognizing and preventing sexual harassment and assault, fostering environments where respect, equality, and healthy communication are the norm, and holding perpetrators accountable for their actions and supporting the victims. Well, that's the much we can take on this edition of the program. Make sure to follow us on all our social media platforms. We are live 24/7 on YouTube. Thank you so much for staying with us. I am Uchenna Chimdi Oluoha.
Welcome to Global News on Signature TV. I am Barry Kumo Ado. In the headlines, federal government sets up committee to standardize payment of fees in tertiary institutions. Nigeria records 130 Lassa fever deaths in 15 states. Pope Leo says it will make every effort for world peace. In the UN Security Council meeting urges Israel to immediately lift siege and allow aid into Gaza. Details shortly.
We are local.
We are right now with the wife of the man that was...
Why the main market is in chaos. People are...
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye. We have taken it through by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
The Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has admitted that there were errors in the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME. The registrar of the board, Professor Ishak Oloyede, disclosed this during a press briefing in Abuja on Wednesday. Oloyede said all machineries were put in place to ensure a flawless conduct of exams, but regretted that there were still errors at the end of the day. According to him, what should have been a moment of joy has changed due to one or two errors. JAMB had received an unusually high number of complaints regarding discrepancies in candidate scores following reports of poor performances in the recently concluded UTME. The board had promised that it will take appropriate remedial measures if any glitches were identified and established. 2025 UTME results saw 78% of candidates score less than 200 of the 400 maximum obtainable points. The federal government has announced the creation of a high-level committee to streamline and standardize fee payment processes across the tertiary institutions in the country. The Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, will announce this after a closed-door meeting with vice-chancellors of universities and NELFund management in Abuja on Wednesday, said the move would help improve the financial operations between Nigerian universities and the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. Alausa emphasized that while universities have been receiving funds on time, there is a critical need to improve the timelines and processes involved in the disbursement and notification systems. He explained that there was no fraud in NELFund as speculated by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, but said there was need to improve the current processes to ensure transparency and adopt uniform terminology for student fees and charges. He added that the committee will come up with a timeline on when NELFund will pay the fees, and a timeline the university will notify students to determine and publish standard timelines. The ENUGU State Post-Primary Schools Management Board, PPSMB, says there is no room for examination malpractices in the state, warning that students have no other choice than to work hard for the exams. Chairman of the PPSMB, Reverend Father Hilary Bodile, who issued the stern warning while monitoring the conduct of the ongoing Senior School Certificate Examination, SSCE, in Enugu State, warned that students and supervisors caught engaging in sharp practices will face severe sanctions. Correspondent Tugona Walu witnessed the examination monitoring for Signature TV.
The PPSMB was created to address the unique challenges facing post-primary education in Enugu State. The board, under the leadership of Father Mbodili, has set for itself the task of quality assurance, staff development, and infrastructure development. The monitoring exercise took the team, led by Father Hilary Mbodili, to some schools in Ezagu local government area where it monitored the conduct of the ongoing senior school certificate examination. The team checked for adherence to examination guidelines, cleanliness, and overall atmosphere in the examination halls. The PPSMB chairman, while addressing students at Community Secondary School and Model Secondary School in Olo, emphasized the importance of hard work and good reading habits to improve their academic performance and ensure a brighter future for themselves and their community. He also warned students against engaging in examination malpractices, which he said undermines the integrity of the education system.
I want to warn you and to advise you. Begin now to cover your syllabus, begin now to read your books. It is no longer business as usual. It's not only in Model Olo. There will be nowhere to run into. If you go to private school, we are there. If you go to mission school, that's where we are based. If you go to public school, that is also our permanent settlement. So there is nowhere to run to. The only shortest cut is to read your books, read your notes. For today, we found your students contributing to 2,000 naira in order to aid my practice. And the truth is that we cannot smile. We are changing. The supervisor is going and facing panel in this board tomorrow morning. She's facing panel. She continues as a teacher. That's good for her. The person coming to contribute. So, and this indictment, we don't pretend about it. Principals were warned to remain in the hall. Your principal was not in the hall. He's also indicted. He's also coming to the board tomorrow morning.
Father Mbodile encouraged teachers to provide necessary support and guidance to their students to enable them excel in their studies and grow into responsible citizens and leaders.
My dear teachers, for those of you who are still making effort, I want to encourage you. Be diligent, teach the students, do your best. Avoid our trouble by coming to school. We have done it for 2 years, concentrating on punishing offenders. From June 2025, we are bringing a new page, rewarding the most diligent, school after school. That's what we are concentrating on. I'm not talking about 5,000 reward or 10,000 reward. We are going to establish an elaborate reward to reward those who are very diligent, those who have never missed work a whole term. School principals will give us their names. Those who are able to cover their syllabus, school principals will give us their names. Such diligent people will come to the headquarters and be rewarded zone after zone, and it's going to be handsome reward.
The exam monitoring exercise is a testimony to the commitment of the PPSMB to ensure improved standards of education in the state, as well as the integrity of the examination process. In ENUGU, Ugonne Owalo, reporting for Signature TV.
The National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, says it has achieved about 120 million national identity number NIN enrollments for citizens and legal residents. The Director General of NIMC, Abisoye Koka Odusote, said at a news conference on Wednesday that the Commission has continued to expand its infrastructure capacity to serve Nigerians better in the last 24 months. Abisoye Koka said the Commission has reduced corruption in the agency by 40% and reviewed the process of its services, with charges for modifications of data increased while verifications were decreased. She said the Commission hiked date of birth corrections fee to 28,574 from 16,340, while it increased the retrieval service fee on unstructured supplementary service data to 50 naira from 20 naira. The Nigerian Senate has called on the federal government to ensure that local government councils have at least one representative at the Federation Account Allocation Committee to protect their interests. It also called for the immediate deployment of troops and equipment to the northeast to curb the renewed threats of Boko Haram insurgency. Details from the upper chamber.
The federal government has been making efforts in the recent past to grant financial autonomy to the local government administrations in the country. This prompted the move by the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, to take the issue of local government autonomy to the Supreme Court, following which the Apex Court granted the relief sought by the AGF. The latest resolution by the Senate for the inclusion of the third tier of government in meetings of the Federation Account Allocation Committee, FAC, to protect their interests is therefore in sync with the desire of the executive arm. The Senate resolved that the resolution be formally communicated to the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy for necessary action. The resolution followed a motion presented by Issa Jibrin, representing Kogi East on behalf of the Deputy Senate President, Barau Jibrin. Jibrin noted that both local government councils and area councils in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, are constitutionally entitled to receive federal allocations directly, emphasizing that the state does not have any right to hinder the allocation process.
The Senate notes that local government councils established by Section 71 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as a third tier of the Federal are entitled as such, and by Section 1623 CFRN 1999 to share directly in Federation account allocations as benefiting entities. Also notes that the Supreme Court has construed Section 1625 and 6 CFRN 1999 to the effect that the states are agents of the Federation to collect local government allocations from the Federation account and to pay local government councils, and did not give the states any right or interest in the said allocations to the local government councils from the Federation account. The Supreme Court went further to also state that the duty of the states is to simply convey to the local government councils their allocations from the Federation account.
Other lawmakers shared the views expressed in the notion and gave it an overwhelming support.
The foresight by bringing up this motion, may I say that Nigerians are actually waiting for these kind of motions, in the sense that it will enable those who are going to be part of the sharing formula to be at the table, for them to know what exactly is being shared and what and why this is being allocated to us.
I have been at the local government council for some time. I was a former councillor and a former local government chairman. And I do know, as rightly said by most of our colleagues, is that if there is direct funding coming from the Federation account to the local government, there will be a lot of developmental changes.
And I said, even from the action from radio, television, and also confirmed by the chairman, Progressive Governors Forum, he said from the time of subsidy to date, the allocation to the states and local government has been 3 times the amount.
The Minister of the Economy, as the chairman of FAC, for urgent information and necessary action. Those in favor of this prayer, please say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. 6. The concurrence of the House of Representatives on this. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has rejected a bill seeking to provide for rotation of the office of a president among the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Proposal was one of the 7 constitutional amendment bills slated for second reading. Deputy Minority Leader Aliyu Madaki set the tone for the criticisms that ultimately led to its rejection. Madaki argued that enforcing rotational presidency could undermine merits and competence in leadership selection, which was supported by several other lawmakers.
And when we are talking of giving people job to do, we are looking at competence. We are looking at ability. I don't know why. Indirectly, it's like in every political parties, there is an arrangement that North will do this term, the South will do this term. So I believe this is something that we must not put in our constitution. We should allow it as it is.
Some members, however, spoke in support of the bill, insisting it would help address long-standing marginalization of certain parts of the country.
I think part of the reason why this sense of injustice continues to go on is because of the failure of governance, the failure of social equity. So, Mr. Speaker, I implore that we do not set a dangerous precedent and put it in the Constitution without due diligence, which I'm sure.
The bill in question, obviously, is set to cure an age-long injustice in our land, especially the minority zones in the region, in Nigeria, which if the presidency of this nation and the vice presidency of this nation is allowed to be struggled in terms of election, they will not have a chance of getting to that climax.
Are we going to force parties to actually pick someone from each region? How many parties do we have? We need to look at each zone. We need to look at party politics.
By the time we start to include the clauses of zoning, that means at a point in time, every part of this country will start to look at it that, look, it is either me or you, or not you or not me. Sir, Mr. Speaker, sir, this is Nigeria that belongs to everybody. Everybody should be given the right to stand and contest for this office of the president.
I believe every zone of the country have people with capacity, people that can govern not only this country, can govern any of, even the ECOWAS countries. So he mentions about the federal character. The federal character clearly specified that there should be fair distributions.
The bill was subsequently subjected to a voice vote by the Deputy Speaker, Benjamin Kalu, who presided over the day's session.
Again, those who support that 1 to 7 constitutional review go to the Committee on Constitutional Review for it to progress. Say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The nays have it.
In response, the chairman of the Committee on Rules and Business, Francis Waive, moved a motion for the bills to be reconsidered individually on their own merits. Among the other rejected bills is a proposal seeking to transfer the powers of registering and regulating political parties from the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to the Office of the Registrar General of Political Parties. The Vice President, Kashim Shettima, says now is a great time to invest in Nigeria, as the administration of President Bola Tinubu has addressed most of the grey areas that hitherto served as disincentives to investors. Shettima stated this when he played host to a delegation from Islamic Development Bank, led by the head of its regional hub, Hamad Ondal, at the State House, Abuja. He pointed out that with well-thought-out interventions in human capital development, nutrition, agriculture, health, education, and promotion of digital trade, the administration has demonstrated commitment in addressing challenges in the critical sectors. The Vice President urged the bank to continue on the path already laid through its support for key government programs, including the development of halal economy in the country. President Bola Tinubu has vowed that he will never be distracted from doing what is good for the overall development of the country. Speaking through the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, at the launch of the autobiography of former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido, Tinubu emphasized the importance of unity, political inclusivity, and a contest of ideas as against outright enmity. Tinubu said he is focused on achieving economic stability and national growth despite prevailing challenges, protect the citizens and defend Nigeria's territorial integrity, urging public support for the ongoing efforts of the military to restore security. He also spoke of the administration's push for increased national revenue through new tax reforms designed to boost development without overburdening citizens. The national leadership of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, TUC, has suspended the chairperson of its River State Council over allegations of misconduct and insubordination. Suspension was conveyed in an official letter signed by TUC National President Festus Osifo and Secretary General Nuhu Toro. According to the letter, the chairperson was suspended for granting unauthorized media interviews despite an early warning and issued a query on June 20, 2024, to which he responded with an apology. A letter addressed to the state vice chairperson, Hassan Anka, noted that the national leadership deemed his response unconvincing and that the chairperson continued to engage the media with inflammatory comments that allegedly brought the Congress into disrepute. The TUC expressed deep concern over what it described as a pattern of behavior that undermines the unity and integrity of the organization and has decided to relieve him of his duties with immediate effect, pending further review. A Kano State High Court has ruled that it has jurisdiction to hear the multi-billion naira fraud case against the National Chairman of All Progressives Congress, APC, Abdullahi Ganduje, dismissing the suit to stop the trial. Ganduje, along with 7 other defendants, had filed an application challenging the court's authority to preside over the case. However, in a ruling delivered on Tuesday, Justice Amina Adamu rejected the preliminary objections, deeming them legally incompetent. The Kano State government had filed an 11-count charge against Ganduje, his wife, Hafsat Umar, and others, accusing them of bribery, conspiracy, misappropriation, and diversion of public funds amounting to billions of naira. Justice Ali ruled that the charges filed on May 13, 2024 are valid, and that the Kano State Public Complaint and Anti-Corruption Commission is legally empowered to investigate criminal matters, not just the police. The judge also issued a summons to Lamash Properties Limited and adjourned the case to July 30 and 31 for further hearing. Operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, have arrested Lagos-based socialite and businessman Fred Ajudua in Abuja following a Supreme Court ruling that revoked his bail. Ajudua is facing trial for allegedly defrauding a Palestinian businessman, Zad Abu Zalaf, of $1,043,000 and was taken to EFCC custody on Tuesday, where is currently being detained. Supreme Court, in a ruling delivered on May 5, 2025, ordered Ajudua's remand in a correctional facility and overturned the bail earlier granted by the Court of Appeal in 2018. The long-running case, which began in 2005, has experienced multiple delays due to changes in presiding judges and was last heard by Justice Mojisala Dada of the Lagos High Court, who originally denied Ajudua bail in 2018. Apex Court also directed the Chief Judge of Lagos State to reassign the case to Justice Dada for continuation of trial. Up ahead, fatal motor accident in Port Harcourt claims 4 lives, leaving 2 seriously injured. Cross River Governor inaugurates Diaspora Commission. Stay with us.
We are local.
We are right now with the wife of the man that was
Why the main market is in chaos. People
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye.
We have taken the vote by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Health practitioners are raising awareness on breastfeeding as a cornerstone of infant health to empower mothers make informed choices for the well-being of their babies. Nursing students of University of Nigeria, ENUGU campus made the appeal when they featured on Signature Morning Show as part of the activities to mark the 29th Annual Health Day with the theme, Breastfeed the Child, Build a Community. One of the guests, Miracle Ozioko, urged nursing mothers to prioritize proper breastfeeding techniques and steer clear of artificial feeding methods. She expressed concern over the growing trend among modern women to rely on formula feeding, emphasizing that breastfeeding offers unmatched benefits for infant health and development.
Breast milk is very important, and that is why as nurses we have a crucial role to play with the mothers, especially during the prenatal and the antenatal period. You explain to the mothers that you can't compare breast milk to formula. Those are like milk. They are not gotten from human. Yes, they are not gotten from human. And then breast milk has like so many other breast milk has vitamin A, D, E, K, and also breast milk has so many nutritional contents in it that you cannot compare with formula. Breast milk also has protein in it. It has proteins it has both whey protein and casein protein, which can help to keep the baby for a longer period, especially when like the mother is not there to breastfeed the baby. And also, when you want to compare breast milk and formula, you find out that most babies that they are formula fed, they are usually prone to obesity. But when you breastfeed your baby, the baby has less chances of being obese.
Another guest, Letitia Ibekwe, who highlighted the importance of exclusive breastfeeding, said that breast milk contains antibodies that fight infections, making it the best source of nutrition for babies. Ibekwe explained that artificial feeding methods increase the risk of diseases and exposure to germs.
We teach the community the importance of this breastfeeding, and we teach them why mothers and every family need to imbibe with this particular process. Now, nurses also, they are the ones that they also go for training so that they can get the knowledge and the skill that they need for this particular event, for this particular process. Now, the nurses also, they find out and they identify the problems that could be associated with mothers breastfeeding their babies, while these mothers shy away from this process, and they go ahead to address these issues one after the other, and encouraging and supporting women to breastfeed their babies.
They also called on husbands to play a supportive role in encouraging their wives to breastfeed and care for their babies. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention has recorded 717 confirmed Lassa fever cases out of 4,881 suspected cases from January to May 4, 2025 in 18 states across 93 local government areas. This was disclosed in a latest situation report by the NCDC on its website on Wednesday, which also revealed that the country recorded 138 deaths with a case fatality rate of 19.3%. The states which reported death cases are Ondo with 27 cases, Bauchi 15, Edo recorded 19 cases, with Taraba and Ebonyi having 34 and 11 cases. Others are Kogi 4, Gombe 7, Plateau and Benue recorded 5 cases each. 4 in Nasarawa, Kaduna and Delta had 2 cases each, while ENUGU, Cross River and Ogun State had 1 case each. Lassa fever is an acute viral hemorrhagic fever caused by the Lassa virus, which has the multi-marmot rat, also known as the African rat, as natural reservoir, although other rodents can also act as carriers. A fatal accident at GU Ake Road, Eliozo, by Unity Filling Station area in Port Harcourt has claimed 4 lives and injured 2 persons. The accident occurred when a driver of a vehicle lost control, ran into some pedestrians, resulting in the death of 4 of them instantly. The driver and occupants of the car survived, and the driver who escaped was later arrested. Corpses of the deceased have been deposited at the University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital mortuary, while the 2 survivors are currently receiving medical attention at the hospital. The River State Police Command has confirmed the accident in a press statement signed by spokesperson Grace Iringe Koko. She said the driver of the vehicle is currently in custody, while the accidented vehicle has been recovered and taken to the station, while the case has been transferred to the State Traffic Department for further investigation. The Cross River State Governor, Bassi Otu, has officially inaugurated a Cross River State Diaspora Commission to engage citizens of a state living abroad in state policies and development projects. Inaugurating the commission in his office in Calabar, Otu said the commission will serve as a bridge between the government and those in diaspora, fostering investment, cultural exchange, and strategic partnerships that contribute to the development of a state. The commission, he said, would also serve as a strategic arm for foreign relations and investments and facilitate developmental initiatives and unity of a state. Chairman of the commission, Otu Oko, described the appointment as an honor and call to serve the state. He assured that the platform will be used to promote the growth of a state and attract diaspora partners to attract investments to Cross River State. Birnin Kebbi, the capital of Kebbi State, has been plunged into darkness following a prolonged power outage disrupting normal social and business activities. The situation has frustrations and widespread inconveniences to businesses who lament the economic losses occasioned by the prolonged outage. Correspondent Excellence Benjamin reports.
City of Birnin Kebbi has been grappling with an inconsistent power supply for quite some time now. The erratic electricity has become a norm, with power outage occurring on an hourly basis, sometimes lasting for several hours. This has severely affected business owners in the city who are struggling to cope with the situation. Suraj Danjuma, a Kebbi State resident, emphasized on how the low voltage poses a significant risk to the safety of people as it can lead to electrical hazards, appliance damage, and even accidents.
It's trying to affect some of our electronics by tripping up and tripping down. Sometimes you see the light given to us, if it's so bright, at the end of the day again it will low, which is affecting some of our electronics, especially for those that are using freezer nowadays. We cannot be able to leave our freezer on because of the light issue, because the light is not stable as usual used to be before. But when we try to discover that the NEPA has issues.
Usman Muhammad, a welder, speaks on how he spends money on fuel due to the inconsistent power supply, which has affected his work and has caused great financial loss. Umar Abubakar Dina, Regional Technical Manager, Kaduna Electric Distribution Company, Kebbi State, sympathized with Kebbi State residents for the power outage as they are working tirelessly with the government to address the situation at hand.
We want to use this medium to register our sympathy to the Kebbi State's city